Hey there, all you musical theater mavens. Welcome back to Broadway by Ghostlight. I'm Mark Benani, and this is episode 7 of Broadway Jeopardy. We've got 26 new clues and 5 all new categories today, including the final Jeopardy round. One of the categories this week is another Patreon picked one, and they have done another fantastic job of choosing. I had a lot of fun with it this week. There is a new episode of Broadway Jeopardy coming every Thursday starting at 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and the very best way you can support me and ensure I can keep producing these videos weekly is making sure you're subscribed to the channel and, even more importantly, sharing these videos with fellow theater nerds or fellow trivia nerds or just, I don't know, someone who owes you a favor or something. Force them to watch my videos. I don't care. I really appreciate it. But I hear you all saying, get to the video, Mr. YouTube Theater Guy, and get to it we shall. This is Broadway Jeopardy! Taking a look at this week's categories, we start off as always with last week's Final Jeopardy category, which is Page to Stage, musicals based on novels. That's followed by Tapped In, dealing with shows featuring tap dancing. Then it's Magic to Do, the Patreon picked category, all about shows dealing with magic in some way. After that, it's Finish the Lyric, an oft-requested category where you fill in the missing words to a lyric. And finally, we have The Producers, all about the blockbuster 2001 musical comedy. And of course, we finish with the Final Jeopardy round, but let's get cracking with the $200 round, or overture round as I call it, where the questions are generally pretty easy to help you get some fake money on the board. Starting off with Page to Stage, the first clue is, this classic musical is based on the book Anna and the King of Siam. What is The King and I is the correct answer. Rodgers and Hammerstein's 5th Broadway outing is based on the mostly true story of Anna Lee and Owens. Yul Brynner, of course, became synonymous with the role of the king, but he was not the first choice to play the role, actually. Rodgers and Hammerstein initially sought out Rex Harrison for the part, one that he played in the film version of the book Anna and the King of Siam. So very, very glad they went with Yul. Over in Tapped In, the $200 clue is, come and meet those dancing feet at this musical, which tells the story of Peggy Sawyer, who goes from chorus girl to Broadway star. What is 42nd Street? The musical opened in 1980 and ran until 1989. In 1987, the show was forced to move from the Majestic Theater to the St. James Theater directly across the street to make way for the mega hit Phantom of the Opera. When 42nd Street's conniving producer David Merrick saw the throngs of tourists struggling to get tickets to the monster hit Phantom, he devised a scheme to use this to his advantage. He changed the starting times for 42nd Street from 8 p.m. to 8:15, and then had ads all over town stating, David Merrick is holding the curtain for you. The idea was that anyone who was turned away from Phantom could still have time to walk across the street and buy a ticket to 42nd Street. They don't make him like David Merrick anymore. Probably for the best. Next up in the Magic to Do category, we have the clue, the song Magic to Do opens this medieval musical with a score by Stephen Schwartz and a book by Roger O'Hearson and Bob Fosse. What is Pippin is the answer. Ben Vereen originally delivered the opening song with Razzle Dazzle as the leading player. There were some notable replacements for the role in the original production, including Northern Calloway, who was David on Sesame Street from 1971 to 1989, Samuel E. Wright, the voice of Sebastian the Crab in The Little Mermaid, and Quitman Flood III, who isn't exactly notable, but I just think that's an amazing name. Quitman Flood III. Epic. Moving on to Finish the Lyric. For $200, complete the lyric. Get out your feathers, your patent leathers, your beads and buckles and bows, for there's no Blue Monday in your blank blank. What is Sunday clothes completes the phrase. The song, of course, is from the musical Hello, Dolly. Recently, country music superstar Dolly Parton announced she's writing a musical about her life that could be coming to Broadway in the near future. And the name of that musical, I kid you not, is going to be Hello, I'm Dolly. Only Miss Parton could pull that off. That is so funny. Finishing up the $200 overture round in the producers category, the clue is the musical is based on the 1967 film of the same name, written and directed by this legendary comedic genius who also wrote the score for the musical. Who is Mel Brooks, of course? I was pretty much raised on Mel Brooks films, and the famous funny man has always been one of my heroes. He is truly one of the kings of comedy.
It's good to be the king.
I hope you all racked up the full $1,000 for the first round. It's time to move on to the only slightly harder $400 round. We circle back to Page to Stage, where the clue is this country musical is based on the novel Adventures of Huckleberry Finn by Mark Twain. What is Big River is the correct answer. The musical had an amazing revival in 2003 from the Deaf West Theatre Company, where the cast was comprised of both hearing and non-hearing performers. I love the artwork for the revival, where if you look closely, the clouds spell out Big River in sign language. The $400 clue for the tapped in category is in the movie musical masterpiece Singin' in the Rain, Gene Kelly and Donald O'Connor get tap happy while trying out a tongue twister in this musical number. What is Moses Supposes? Do any of you remember the full tongue twister? All right, say it with me. Moses supposes his toeses are roses, but Moses supposes erroneously. For Moses he knowses his toeses aren't roses, as Moses supposes his toeses to be.
A Mose is a Mose.
A rose is a rose.
A toes is a toes. Hoop-de-doodle-doodle.
Next up in the Magic to Do category, the $400 clue is in Disney's Frozen, young Anna begs her sister Elsa to use her magic ice powers by constantly asking this question in song form. What is Do You Want to Build a Snowman? The score for the film and stage musical Frozen was by brilliant husband and wife duo Robert Lopez and Kristen Anderson Lopez. The young singer who voiced young Anna in the film singing Do You Want to Build a Snowman is the duo's daughter Katie, as a matter of fact. Their other daughter Annie voiced one of the trolls as well.
Do you want to build a snowman? It doesn't have to be a snowman.
Go away, Anna.
Okay, bye.
Let's test your show tune savvy over at Finish the Lyric. Your $400 clue is phone rings, door chimes, blank, blank, blank. What is In Comes Company? I'm sure most of you are probably familiar with the wonderful documentary all about the recording of the original cast album for Company. It's an extraordinary record of that process and on such an influential show. The documentary was actually supposed to be the first in a series documenting various shows recording their albums, but sadly, Company was the only episode produced. Finishing up the $400 round over with the producers, your clue is this is the outrageous show within a show featured in the producers. What is Springtime for Hitler is the answer. Mel Brooks always believed that laughing at your enemy was a great way to cut them down to size, and he certainly did that with the absurd Springtime. The outrageousness was turned to the max for the Broadway version, however, with the addition of the wonderful Gary Beach in the title role.
I'll myself watch my show. I'm the German Ethel Merman, don't you know?
Back at Page to Stage, we start off the $600 round now with the clue, this horror musical, based on the book by Stephen King, is considered the gold standard of flop musicals. What is Carrie? The infamous 1988 flop played 16 previews and 5 performances at Broadway's August Wilson Theater. Its legendary status was solidified when Ken Mandelbaum's seminal book on Broadway flops was named Not Since Carrie. This book was literally a textbook when I went to college for musical theater. It's a must read. Let's flatball change over to Tapped In, and the clue: in thoroughly modern Millie, Millie and the rest of the residents of the Hotel Priscilla must tap dance in order for this machine to work. What is the elevator is the correct answer. Yes, in both the stage show and the film, at the Hotel Priscilla, mostly occupied by aspiring actresses, after years of girls practicing tap in the elevator because of its hardwood floors, it did something to the machinery, and now the elevator requires its occupants to tap dance to get it to work. I've always thought that was just such a fun, random little bit.
Would you mind taking over?
Next up for Magic to Do, the $600 clue is: this is Shiz University's headmistress and sorcery professor who first takes Elphaba to see the wizard in Wicked. Who is Madame Morrible? Madame Morrible is an amazing character, so it's no surprise that so many acclaimed actresses have played her over the years. The original Morrible, Carol Shelley, was replaced by the likes of Rue McClanahan, Carol Kane, Sheryl Lee Ralph, and currently Donna McKechnie, just to name a few. She's going to be portrayed by the wonderful Michelle Yeoh in the upcoming film adaptations. Over at Finish the Lyric, your clue is: oh, aren't you glad to be in our fraternity, the great big blank, blank, blank. What is Brotherhood of Man finishes the lyric. The song, from How to Succeed in Business Without Really Trying, is the show's big 11 o'clock number, and it really brings the house down. The final $600 clue in the producer's category is: originally played by Katie Huffman, this Pulp Fiction actress took on the role of Ula in the 2005 film version of the musical. Who is Uma Thurman is the correct answer. Bialystok and Bloom's sexy secretary has got it and flaunts it in the musical. Ula's full name? Ula Inga Hansen Benson Janssen Tallen Holland Svaden Svanson. Say that 5 times fast.
No. No, I don't think I will.
All right, Broadway babies, it's time to turn the screws with the $800 round. But first, you know what to do. If you've been enjoying this week's game, please, please, please take a hot second and hit that little like button. It really goes a long way to helping these videos find more fine folks like yourselves, and gives me the warm fuzzies inside. I really appreciate it. Okay, the $800 clue for the Page to Stage category is: the musical Freaky Friday is based on the book of the same name written by this woman, daughter of theater royalty and a composer in her own right. Who is Mary Rodgers? Yes, the composer of Once Upon a Mattress and others also wrote the novel Freaky Friday, which has led to multiple movie and now stage adaptations. Mary Rodgers is of course the daughter of Richard Rodgers, and she is also the mother of Adam Gettle, composer of The Light in the Piazza, Floyd Collins, and more. Your next clue from the Tapped In category is: this new Gershwin musical, starring the swonderful Tommy Tune and Twiggy, had audiences kicking the clouds away in 1983. What is My One and Only? The musical was originally intended to be a reworking of the classic Gershwin musical Funny Face, but numerous troubles behind the scenes led to multiple directors, designers, and book writers, which ultimately left almost none of Funny Face's original material intact. But the book was not what people were coming for, if we're honest. All that really mattered was hearing those gorgeous Gershwin tunes and seeing the elegant Tommy Tune and Twiggy dancing their troubles away. Conjuring up the $800 clue in the Magic to Do category, we have this illusion-filled musical ran for over 4 years on Broadway, thanks in large part to its leading man, magician Doug Henning, and its Stephen Schwartz score. What is The Magic Show? The musical ran for almost 2,000 performances, and yet it has sort of left the collective consciousness of musical theater fans over the years. That is often the case, though, with shows built around one performer, as was the case with this show and magician Doug Henning. The musical does contain some of Stephen Schwartz's best songs, in my opinion, like West End Avenue and a favorite of mine, Lion Tamer. Your $800 chance for you to finish the lyric is, lights up on Washington Heights, up at the break of day, I wake up and I got this little blank, 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 blank. What is Punk I Gotta Chase Away? A bit of rapid fire lyrics from Broadway's resident rapper, Lin-Manuel Miranda. These lyrics are of course from the opening title number of In the Heights. One of the best stage to screen adaptations, in my opinion, is the excellent 2021 film version of In the Heights, which I think was slept on a little, no doubt getting lost in the sort of haze of the pandemic. Finishing up the $800 round, your clue for The Producers is, the massive success of The Producers was in large part thanks to this person, both the show's director and choreographer. Who is Susan Stroman is the correct answer. The incomparable Miss Stroman did excellent work, as always, in The Producers, but the highlight has to be the Little Old Ladyland sequence, which was performed at the Tonys. All right, everyone, we just got a ticket to the main event. Time to put your courage to the sticking place. It's the $1,000 round. Bring on the dramatic music. Good luck, my friends. We start off back at Page to Stage, where the $1,000 clue is, the novel, of the same name as its musical adaptation, is a mock autobiography of fictional star of stage, screen, and television, Belle Poitrine. What is Little Me is the answer. The original novel Little Me is by Patrick Dennis, the same person who wrote about all his adventures with his Auntie Mame, which of course became the musical Mame. Honestly, we need both of these Patrick Dennis-based musicals back on Broadway. Bring back Mame and Little Me, and you know what? Have them both star Jinx Monsoon while you're at it. You're welcome, Broadway. Tapping out the Tapped In category, your clue is, future Fresh Prince star Alfonso Ribeiro starred as the title youngster in this 1983 dance-focused musical. What is the Tap Dance Kid? Yes, before teaching America to do the Carlton, Alfonso Ribeiro was the Tap Dance Kid. Later in the run, he was replaced by his understudy, 10-year-old tap dance prodigy Savion Glover. Another future star to step into the tap dance kid's shoes was West Wing and Psych star Dule Hill, who played the role on the first national tour. The $1,000 clue for Magic to Do, just for you, is after The Magic Show, Doug Henning's only other Broadway outing was this flop musical from 1983, co-starring Nathan Lane and the great Cheetah Rivera as the evil queen. What is Merlin is the right answer. God, that's a lot of 1983 musicals this week. I didn't plan that. Audiences did not flock to Merlin as they had The Magic Show. Merlin only lasted about 6 months on Broadway. It's not too surprising, seeing as the show's mustachioed leading man could not really sing or dance, but at the end of the day, it wasn't really about that.
It's about magic. It's about wonder. It's about tingles down your spine, hair that stands on end. Don't you love to pretend? Now! Oh!
Your final chance to finish the lyric comes now. The $1,000 clue is, I put on some makeup, turn on the tape deck, and put the blank, 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 blank. What is wig back on my head?
Suddenly I'm Miss Midwest Midnight Checkout Queen.
The song in question is Wig in a Box from the musical Hedwig and the Angry Inch. Hedwig was sort of a cult classic musical for a time, playing off-Broadway in the 90s, starring the show's creator, John Cameron Mitchell. It has a much admired movie version as well, but I think it didn't fully hit the mainstream consciousness until 2014, when the musical finally reached Broadway in a hit revival starring Neil Patrick Harris. Finally, the main part of the game wraps up with the producers and the $1,000 clue. Before the infamous Springtime, this is the musical that Max Bialystock produced that closes on its opening night at the beginning of The Producers. What is Funny Boy is the answer. Funny Boy is apparently a musical version of Hamlet, which is just such a great Mel Brooks gag naming it Funny Boy. I have 2 different playbills from Funny Boy actually. This one here is from the musical version, the Broadway version of the show, and then I have the 2005 musical movie version of The Producers here.
We can't believe it. You can't conceive it.
How'd he achieve it?
It's the worst show in town.
Well, my friends, how have you all fared so far? It's time now to tally up your scores and get ready for the final Jeopardy round. Decide how much of your earnings you want to wager on the category Puppets on Parade, looking at shows utilizing the art of puppetry. Alrighty, have you all made your bets? Joey? Lisa? Rora? Okay, here is your final Jeopardy clue. This play, originally produced at London's National Theatre, featured puppets named Joey and Topthorn, as well as a mischievous goose. What is Warhorse is the answer. Did it throw you guys off not having the clue be about a musical? I can be tricky. You gotta watch out for this guy. Anyways, the incredible and incredibly moving Warhorse featured several mind-blowing puppets, all created by the Handspring Puppet Company located in South Africa. There were 3 different Joeys used in each performance at different stages in the horse's life. I absolutely loved Warhorse. It is truly a show that has to be seen to fully understand how incredible the puppetry work was, both in design and also the team of actors who make the animals come to life every performance. We've reached the end of this week's game. How did you all do? Be sure to let me know what your final score was in the comments. I love seeing how you all did. Puppets on Parade will be back next week with its own full category, of course, but you can feel free to comment some category suggestions. I'm always looking for inspiration. Make sure you're subscribed to the channel and hit that notification bell so you won't miss a trivia-filled episode. A special huge thank you to my patrons over on Patreon. Another great category coming from you guys this week. If you want to join us over on Patreon, there is a link in the description for you to come check it out. You can follow me over on Twitter and Instagram if you want to hear me rant about musicals in real time. But until next Thursday, I'm Mark Bonanni. This is Broadway by Ghostlight. Thanks for playing.